Welcome everybody to day 4. So what I wanted to talk to you all today is all about business, financial literacy, opportunity costs. It's something that I feel like most of us, I would probably say all of us, including myself, can do a lot better with considering and thinking about opportunity costs. What opportunity cost means, it means two different things. If you spend money today, you did not just lose the money that you spent, but you also lost the opportunity cost that it could have earned had you kept it. So if I have $100,000 and I spend it, I don't just not have the $100,000. I don't have what it would have been worth had I kept it at an 8% rate of return 10 years from now. Does that make sense? The same thing, opportunity costs. If I am offering, for example, let's say if I have an opportunity and I don't take advantage of that opportunity that could have made me $100,000. Me not taking that opportunity didn't just cost me $100,000. It cost me what I could have earned every year. Not just the first year I didn't make the 100,000, but the next year I didn't make the extra 100,000. The next year, then the next year, and the next year, and the next year. So I make every financial decision that way. I think about opportunity costs. So I'm just going to show you all really quick, do a little time value of money exercise for you really quick. Pull this up. And this is going to relate to business. The reason why it's going to relate to business is because a lot of us have a business, but we're only making a gross revenue and we're not making much in net. You're not netting a lot of profit. And understand that there are hidden costs and hidden expense that's in your business right now. Let's say if it's an extra $50,000 a year, that extra $50,000 that you're losing by what you're not paying attention to is not costing you $50,000. It's costing you a lot more over time. So if that's making sense to you, let me know in the comments, but I'm gonna try to break it down and give you a calculator really quick. So I'll give you an example. So let's just say in my mentorship that I was able to show you how to consistently not increase your revenue, although that's important, but we want to increase your take home, increase your profits by $100,000. We're only going to say 1 year. Now, obviously, if I teach you one time, do you think that you can do it over and over and over and over and over again? Absolutely, because you'll have the blueprint. Once you have the blueprint, all you have to do is just follow the blueprint. But let's just say one time. So if it's $100,000, let's just say you are 35. So what would $100,000 have been worth 30 years from now if you made 8%? That's $1 million, 6,265. So you not making $100,000 today is costing you $1 million 30 years from now. If we were making 12%, then it's costing us almost $3 million 30 years from now. So that $100,000, if you could have took that money and put that money into some real estate, for example, and average just 12% per year, we're looking at $3 million down the line. So you can use that with a big number, you can use that with a small number. What if that $100,000 you kept doing the same thing for 5 years? $500,000 not made today costs you $5 million down the line. That's a very interesting concept because you can look at that the opposite way too. Because you can look at that as not just you making the money, but you actually loosely spending and wasting $100,000 is also worth $5 million over time. So why do I say this? Well, I just had to make some different decisions this year. So I own, and many of you know this, I own a Lamborghini and I own a Rolls Royce. And both of those vehicles together At first, I was going to rent out the Lamborghini, and it was making me money because I was able to have people attracted to me and my mentorship because of it. But now that's kind of ran its place. So now me having that Lamborghini and that Rolls Royce is nice, but I barely drive it, especially the Lamborghini. It just sits in my garage. So my payments right now is about $12,000 a month for the both of those, right? So $12,000 a month is $144,000 a year. So if I did that over the next 3 years, I mean, we're talking about maybe around 400 grand approximately. I know I didn't add that exactly right, but you'll get the point. 400 grand. Now, that 400 grand, that actually cost me $4 million 30 years from now, and even 10 years from now, $863,570. Now, why do I bring that up? Because most of us are just spending all of our money. We're loosely spending all of our money, and we're not truly investing our money. So I have Bitcoin. I'm gonna try to pull it off right now. So I want to show y'all this. But the Bitcoin, I'll show you this when my phone charges up. But anyway, I had $224,000 in Bitcoin in October. I don't know if you all know, if you all heard, but with Bitcoin, it just got approved that a lot of companies can now start offering Bitcoin within IRAs as ETFs. That just shot Bitcoin's way up. My $224,000 less than 3 months later is now worth $420,000. That's almost a $200,000 gain. Now, I look back and I say, man, instead of me driving that 160,000, 144,000, what if I would have put that $144,000 in Bitcoin like I should have done this year? It wouldn't have cost me 144,000. It would have cost me, it actually cost me almost $300,000 to drive 2 cars this year. Do you all see what I'm saying? I'm getting you all how to think about how to make financial decisions, and it's also going to help you to make better business decisions. When you're not pumping the money up to your future income, it's not just the savings, it's what you can make long term. That's a big deal. So think about that when you're looking at your profit and loss statement, when you're paying extra expenses toward softwares that you're not using anymore, when you're frivolously throwing money down the drain. Now, there has to be a balance, because if you got so frugal with this to the point where you just said, well, I'm just not going to enjoy my life, I'm just going to drive an old car and live in an old house. Well, now, even when you make all of the money in retirement age, your mindset is not going to allow you to spend it. I have one client that has almost $15 million with me, and she was the most frugal person. She lived this. She lived attempting to save as much as she can, spend it down later. But guess what? Her mindset is stuck in that path. She called me and said, I need to take some money out of my account, but I'm really nervous. I was like, what are you nervous for? She said, well, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be broke. I said, how much money do you need? I'm thinking she's about to say a few $1,000,000. $40,000 is what she needed to buy this vehicle she wanted to buy. And she was afraid to take, this lady's in her 60s, afraid to take out $40,000 from a $15 million portfolio. You also don't want to be stuck in that mindset as well. So what I want to talk about today is we're really focused on business growth, right? Business growth. Just by I'm kind of quick poll. How many of you put a 1 in the chat if you have a business that you actually get a 1099 for? So I had to mention that because some people are doing stuff on the side that ain't no taxes. They don't count, at least for this purpose. Put a 2 in the chat if you don't have a business. Put a 2 in the chat if you don't have a business at all. You're but maybe you strive to one day, but you don't right now. Awesome. Okay. A lot of business owners in here. So we're just going to tell you just three quick things that I learned. I'm going to kind of hit every area right now. I'm going to hit the area of um, marketing. I'm going to hit really quick in the area of sales. And I'm going to hit in the area of team building right now. So I talked about duplicating yourself a couple of days ago. When you're building a team, you have to focus on building your core values. You have to focus on building your core values. Just give me a second. I'm gonna tell you what I mean. So my core values in my company are hungry, happy, honest, and humble. So humble, hungry, honest, and happy. Humble, hungry, honest, and happy. Everybody on my team knows those are our core values. So just to give you an example that we take our core value very seriously, I don't use one of those what do you call it, employee books, those handbooks. I use what I call a culture book that I invented. So this is actually our culture book, Compass Culture, Freedom and Responsibility. I'm going to explain to you what that means in a second. So we wanted to do a radical, let me actually make it full screen. So I even say in this that I know you're excited to read this employee handbook, right? I know what you're thinking. Once you read one, you read them all, but this one is different. It really is different. After having a conversation and truly listening to each one of my team members, I decided that it was time for a radical change. This handbook is not traditional. It is a playbook for our company culture and a few policies you need to know. This is all about freedom and responsibility. So what freedom and responsibility is, it means that you're truly free, meaning I won't hound you about where you are or how much extra time you're putting in. I don't reward working hard because that's meaningless if results are not being achieved, right? And I tell you all of this all the time. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter. I'm not your parent. You don't have to ask me for permission to leave work early for a doctor's appointment. That's old school, right? However, letting your team members know so that you're covered would be the responsible thing to do. So we have these core values. This is actually old. This is humble, hungry, and honest. We added happy a couple of years ago. But just to show you, when I'm writing this out, we break it down. So humble, you put your clients first before the company before the team, and the team before you. You listen well instead of reacting fast so you can better understand. You don't always have to be right. You treat people with respect, independent of their status or disagreement with you. You maintain a calm pose in stressful situations. You gracefully accept feedback. You make time to help your colleagues, and you place trust in the strategy of the company, even if you don't always understand the why. So what does hungry mean? You're tenacious. You learn rapidly and eagerly inspiring others. Your results can be measured. You deliver more value to the company than you're compensated. You take upon yourself to improve your skills, and you make wise decisions. Honest, you're candor, you're direct. You don't have this false harmony. You're non-political when you disagree. You only say things about fellow employees you would say to their face, and you are quick to admit mistakes without trying to cover it up. That's key. Why didn't nobody tell me? Okay, got it. Without trying to cover it up. So those are what my core values are. And I go deep and I talk about loyalty. I talk about we don't accept brilliant jerks. So we love talented people who produce results, but we do not tolerate jerks. Our motto is no drama, no mess, no stress. If a person is continuously condescending, unkind, verbally abusive to the team, they will not be on the team for long. So they know that right up front. The cost to effective teamwork is too high. The culture of the team is only as good as the people we spend time around. So we talk about collaboration. We talk about freedom. This is going to be crazy. So this is our vacation policy, you all. At CRS, Compass Retirement Solutions, our vacation policy is pretty straightforward. Take what you need. Yes, you read that right. As long as you discuss with HR and your team in advance, wrap up your projects, get coverage, and don't leave people hanging, you may take any reasonable amount of time off with pay, of course. So that sounds crazy. Why would I allow this? I believe a business is built on trust while supporting your lives and family and reducing the red tape. I trust that you will treat yourself, the company, and your coworkers with respect and not abuse this policy. Just make sure you consult with HR. I strongly recommend you take a minimum of 2 weeks vacation per year. It should be noted that failure to take a vacation could result in burnout, stress, and a dull life. Why did I have to add that last paragraph? Because when I first implemented this policy, people loved it so much that they didn't want to take a vacation because they didn't want to mess it up. So this is actually what I built in the company, right? Why is that important? Because everybody who we interview is going to be measured by those 4 core values. Are they humble, hungry, honest, happy? The people who we have on the team when we do our evaluations are measured by that. At one point, I had more team members. At one point, I got more now again. But I did this and I asked myself, I ran everybody through this grid of the 4 core values. And I said, if I had to hire this person again based on these core values, knowing what I know now, would I hire this person? If the answer was no, then why am I keeping this person on the team now? So I need to figure out a way to start pushing these people off, because if you keep the people who are bad seeds on the team, they will either destroy the good seeds, or the good seeds will constantly be holding up the bad seeds and they will eventually want to leave. So you have to ask yourself, sometimes by keeping a bad employee too long will actually cost you your good employees. So when you are building a team, that is, in my opinion, one of the most important things. And I didn't do that at first, and I kept losing team members over and over and over and over again. I kept losing team members. Once I got this right, I have several people on my team that has been with me for longer than 4 years. I have people on my team that has been with several people who've been with me on my team for longer than 6 years. So I've been able to keep the longevity. Now, I do want to be clear. One time I told my mentor, I was actually bragging about the fact that um, I was bragging about the fact that unfortunately, I cannot give you this handbook unless you're in the mentorship. If you're in the mentorship, I can give you this handbook, but I don't just pass out this handbook freely, because this handbook will be copied everywhere, which I don't mind my mentees copying it. But what I said was, everybody on my team has been there for 4 years, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So my team is doing great. Everybody's doing good. He looked at me and said, and you think that's a good thing? I was like, what do you mean? Why wouldn't it be a good thing? He said, all that tells me, if you're having struggles in your business right now, and you've had the same people on your team for that long, what that tells me is that you have a problem holding people accountable. Because if you held the people accountable, you wouldn't have to fire people. They would leave on their own. And I looked at myself and I said, man, you're absolutely right. That is a weakness. I struggle with holding people accountable. So I changed our culture to a culture of added accountability. So I brought on, a COO on my team, a sales leader on my team. And the whole purpose for that is said, look, if I struggle with holding people accountable, why would I struggle continuing to do it? Write this down, you all. If you have a problem that writing a check could solve, then you don't have a problem. I'm going to say that again. If you have a problem that writing a check could solve, then you don't have a problem. Unless you're unwilling to write the check, then you're the problem. Make sense? So what I was able to do was bring on the right people on my team. Now, we have a meeting rhythm. This is extremely important, to have a meeting rhythm with your team. So many teams that I see, people will hire a virtual assistant and they'll go out and hire a team. And they don't meet. And when they do meet, it's because there's a problem, or they call them emergency meetings, and there's no set timeline. I'm going to tell you my meeting rhythm on my team, and I show up every day for this meeting rhythm. Every day, Monday through, well, no, we don't do this on Monday because we have a group meeting. On Mondays, everybody meets together between 11 and 12. So, um, every day between 8:30, I'm sorry, yeah, 8:30 and 8:45 for 15 minutes, we do a huddle. It's a Zoom meeting. In this huddle, it's just me and the leadership team. And I have 4 other members on my leadership team. During this, we basically say, hey, what's going on with the company? What's the positive focus? And we say, yesterday and then you say what you did yesterday. Today I will, and you say what you will do today. And my top priority is today I will, my top priority is. And most of the time we follow that to a T. And sometimes there's an issue that takes up the time and we don't get to that. But what we do is that we end it with cascading messages. So what a cascading message means is, what do we want to deliver to the entire team? So let's say the cascading message is evaluations are due for the entire staff, which was a cascading message today, right? So we break down that once we finish the 15-minute leadership huddle on Zoom, we break out into our own huddles with our department. So for example, I'm going to meet with sales. One of my operations leaders is going to meet with operations. Somebody else is going to meet with our insurance team, etc. And then what we do is we cascade that message. We say, hey, this is what is cascaded from the leadership meeting. The evaluations are due. And that way, everybody across the organization is getting this, but we also have small enough groups where everybody still gets to say there, yesterday I will. Today I will. So we do that amongst the people in the different departments. So everybody gets an opportunity to do that, and communication is tight. Mondays, we all meet and we go over scorecards and department conversations. But our most important meeting, my most important meeting, is my weekly leadership team meeting. I meet with my leadership team every week for an hour and a half. We had that meeting today, actually. Now, in this meeting, we call it an IDS meeting. It's a level 10 meeting. So a level 10 meeting, this is a meeting where we discuss our positive focus. Let me see if I can find it. I was going to pull it up, but I'll just tell you. So this is a meeting where we talk about, what was a personal win, professional win, etc. But then when we get into the meat of the conversation, we look at our scorecard to see if we are in line with the scorecard. This is accountability. What you don't measure doesn't get done. Too many people are running businesses and they don't know the stats. How can you win a ball game if you don't know the score? You have to know the score, and many people don't. How can you improve on something that you don't know what you're improving on? I'll repeat that because that's so important. You got to have KPIs, which are key performance indicators. How can you improve on something when you don't know what you're improving on? So we have a dashboard. We go over this dashboard. Are we green? Are we yellow? Or are we red? Let me see if I can find. I want to find this CEO dashboard. All right, here we go. Google Sheets. So green, yellow, or red. So if we're on track, green. If we're we might get there, it's yellow. If it's a no-go, it's red. That means we need to do something different. Now, if we keep hitting greens, hold on, you all. I want to pull this up really quick. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. Dashboard. All right, here we go. So this is my real up-to-date dashboard numbers. So we're talking about in this in the meeting. Okay. What was our revenues last week? All right, 63,000, right? What was our revenue this week? 495,000. What is our monthly revenue goal? 375,000. Where are we at today? Actual 558,558. So that means we're green. We're 200,000, almost $200,000 over our monthly revenue goal. I would say that's a green. Wouldn't you agree? So expenses. What were our expenses last week? What were they this week? Now, if our goal is 225,000, we're at 173. Wait a minute. Although we're very profitable, let's wait. We're red because it looks like following this pace, we're going to pass that 250, 225,000. But it comes with a caveat, right? I'm not as concerned about that. Why? Because we just realized today in the leadership meeting that we need to add another box. We need to add a box that says commission, because is commission really an expense? No. So while it looks like we've overspent, most of that money is in commissions. So if you can see, if I hover over this, you'll see one of my team members said, reminder to back out advisor commissions, because we don't want to punish ourselves by that. And we're measuring the revenue per employee to see if we hit that statistic. So that's our financial statistic. We also have a goal of 6 new clients. Of 20 new clients every month. So last week we had 4. This week we got 6. So that's 10. So we got 2 more weeks to go in an extra couple days. So I would say we're on track, right? So that's light green. So we do that with leads. We do that with stick rate. We do that with 15-minute appointments, 60-minute appointments. We want to measure all of these things to see if we're on track or not. Here's one. We want to do new client ads. We just changed this today. This is a great example. This was $3.5 million for the month, but we've been hitting green continuously over and over and over. So in a leadership meeting today, we said, okay, well, we hit 3.6 million this week, and our goal was only 3.5. So we need to make a change. If you keep hitting green, that tells you that you need to raise your goal. So we raised our goal from 3.5 million to 14 million. So now we got to keep doing that 3.5 million every week. Now, if we hit it, great. If we don't hit it for a couple months in a row, then we in a leadership team, we need to decide if we reverse and alter our goal again. We're looking at applications completed. We also look at service, right? So, well, look at this. New money submitted. You'll see right here. Funded FIA, 4 million. We're at 6,403,000. So we're definitely hitting our goals. But we also want to look at success. So we want to answer at least 90% of our service response within a reasonable amount of time. I think it's 24 hours. We're 84%. So we're not quite there. We're yellow, but we can get there. Percentage of calls answered on the first time they call. We want 80%. We're at 80.9%. So we're green. We're on track. So we're going over this on our leadership meetings, every leadership meeting. We're also taking a look at our company priorities, which are our big rocks. Is this helpful to somebody so far? I don't even think I went over this in my wealth creators yet. They're looking at this like, you never even taught us this yet. All right, so let me show you this. See, you can't run a business based off guesswork. You can't. You got to run a business based off numbers. You don't want to make emotional decisions. Now, sometimes you have to trust in your intuition, but you don't want to rely just on intuition. You also want to rely on numbers. You can start off relying on intuition, but track your numbers, track your stats. I'm going to show you how we track our stats really quick, because it's so important to track your stats. But first, before I show you how we track our stats, I'm going to show you our how we look at our goals. So we have a company dashboard. In a company dashboard, we got all of these goals that we have. We meet every quarter for, this is also a meeting rhythm. We meet every quarter for at least a day, sometimes 2 days with the leadership team to go over the priorities that we want to set for the month. And we only want to end with 3 to 5 things that are priorities. So for example, this is ours. We have a structured approach to our sales process. All accountabilities for SOPs and tasks have been done. We have 11 workshops held, 2 client events hosted, and our new core values are rolled out to the company. So this lets us know if we're on track, the green, red, yellow, same thing with that, right? Then we have annual initiatives. So we wanted referrals generating at least $2.5 million in revenue. We wanted to acquire 2 firms with at least $100 million in assets under management. At least 5 advisors have passed Compass University. Actually, this is actually old. Let me see. That is not our present ones, but you'll get the point. Filter, yeah, this last current period. Okay. See, I knew it changed. So here's our top 3 priorities. 1 million in referrals through 1 million in revenue through referrals, 25 million in new assets, referral liaison scheduling 80% of the referrals, event ambassador doing this. You get the point. I'm not going to go through all of this, but we have our goals kind of set aside out. And when we look at the daily huddles, 2 things I'm going to look at. This is our Compass L10 meeting that I mentioned. We have somebody going on maternity leave. They leave on the 15th for maternity leave, so we got to get that ready. These are our segues, which means what are our personal wins? So this was my personal win. So I do it too. It's not just the team. The leaders lead first. I went on a juice fast. I'm down 5 pounds. Professional, we've been using the referral tracker in the RSVP line. Christine brought up a price hike to me, which is good because she's thinking about expenses and not just doing it. So we got headlines here. We have all of our to-dos present right here. And we have what's called IDS. IDS is our parking lot. So what IDS means in these meetings is what are some things that what are some things that are issues with the company? So we want to list out all of the issues. Service response time slow. We're having personnel issues. We're having this. All of the issues we have, we want to identify the issue. Then we want to discuss the issue to determine if this is a real issue or not. And then we want to spend time solving that issue. So we want to take all of those issues. Let's say we got 10 issues. We want to label it the first important issue, the most important issue first, the second most important issue second, and the third most important issue third, etc. And look, some weeks, get this, you all, some weeks we have spent the entire 60-minute section of the IDS on the first issue. But that's okay because the motto is if we can solve one really good, it's better than serving 3 halfway. Many people make that mistake. They have a list and they try to get through everything on that list and they don't really solve anything. Our motto is we will solve one at a time. And if we solve that, only then will we move on to the next thing. Because how many people waste time in meetings and you have these meetings and you walk away feeling like, what did we just accomplish? Nothing, right? Some weeks like today, we got through all of them. So it really just depends on that particular level. Now, what I'm going to show you next is I'm going to show you, I mentioned that every day we do the yesterday I, today I will, etc. If I go to my huddle, let's see here. Let me go back to initiatives. I'm going to say huddles, and I'm going to go with daily huddles. Let's go to yesterday. And this software is called Align Today. But here we go. Look, yesterday I paid off a bunch of debt, did my wealth creation call, did my 5-day challenge, met with this person for a second appointment, met with this person, did a pyramid exam for my new life insurance policy. Hey, y'all, this is my real life. I can't make this up. I'm showing you my real huddles I'm sharing with the group. So if anybody ever say, hey, do you practice what you preach? What does this say? I did my exam for my new life insurance policy. I discuss events and I also discuss seminars. Today I will take out paperwork for my Dubai property. So am I capping when I say I own a Dubai property? No, it's right here. Prepare to attend my advisory board meeting. Do my coaching program quarterly today and plan for my fulfillment. Get with, one of my sales agents for a call. Review goals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm doing this every single day. And on the leadership team, we're going through this every single day. This is what you have to do. Most people are not, you're running your lives, you're ruining your lives, but you're not running a business. You're not running a business. Running a business looks like this. I need to know my numbers. I need to know accountability. And I'm going to talk about that next, accountability chart. But let's first talk about tracking. So give me 1 second. I'm being as transparent as I can be with you all. This is my real life. This is my real business. This is no cap. So, what I'm going to show you is, I hate to say this, but a lot of your favorite entrepreneurs on social media are cappers. They don't really have what they say they have, and they'll never show you because they don't have it. So if I look at sheets, let me look at tracking. PPP, here we go. All right, so let me show you all this. How detailed do we get when it comes to tracking? This goes on all my news sources, the percentage of production, year-to-date amount issued, year-to-date pending, total annuity business, total insurance business, year-to-date estimated revenue from each of the sources. We pretty much go all out. Average case size, first appointment kept, second appointment kept, third appointment kept. Like, we are machines when it comes to tracking our business. I wasn't always like this. We got our production tracker right here. We can look at the production tracker for each and every single client on this production tracker. And we can see what they brought in, the amounts, etc. It's all in there. We can look at, we have what do you call it? Pivot tables built out. We got our costs built out where we know exactly what our cost is. So, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to keep going, but you get the point. We don't play around when it comes to this. Dashboard, we have all of this. So anyway, I can look at what my team is doing as far as closing rates. I can look at what my team is doing. I can look at where each person is in the appointment process. I can look at if it's a client and you do business with me, you can know that we are tracking your money every step of the way. We're not losing track of that. And here's the deal, you all. I am not the best person when it comes to spreadsheets and tracking and numbers and dashboards and all of that. So if you're like me and you're a quick start, which means that you're the type of person who your mind works conceptually and not this detail oriented, don't let me see, how can I say this? Don't feel intimidated. The good news is you just have to know enough. You don't know how to do all, you don't know have to know how to do all of this. You just have to know how to be a leader and hire the right people who do know how to do all of this. So it is a who, not how. Too many times we don't achieve more because we're too busy focusing on how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? Change your question to who can do this? Who can do this? Who can do this? Does that make sense? Who, not how. So it's a lot of numbers because we have a bigger team. Now, when you start off, you're not going to have all of these stats the way that I do. We're talking about I'm 18 years strong in the industry. I've had to build this up over time, but you do need to have at least a dashboard to know what your numbers are. And if your numbers, if you're not having the dashboard, like I said, if you're not having the consistent meetings, like I said, if you don't have the coach book, like I said, if you don't have all of those things, that just shows you how much opportunity that you have to grow in the future. Because when you install even a little bit of this, even a little bit of this, then understand that you are actually putting yourself into a position where your business will grow. That's what I love about my mentorship at Wealth Creators. We train, we teach my mentees how to do all of this. They have templates to learn how to do all of this. They know how, they don't have to create their own culture book from scratch. They don't have to create their own entrepreneurship budgets from scratch. They don't have to create their own tools from scratch. Jab, if you're in here right now, can you drop privately, direct message me my wealth creator expense, my freedom calculator?
Give me
So
a
Jab,
second,
if you can
Marvin.
drop my wealth creator freedom calculator, and also if you can drop the team, our systems and SOPs for how to build a team. The good news is
Sure.
you don't have to reinvent it. We have the systems. We have the people to help you to hire your teams. We have the people to help you do your budgets. We have the people to help you set your 6-week goals and your quarterly reviews and your accountability. Now, let me teach you something about accountability. Is this helpful to you all? Just to get the big picture of running a multi-million-dollar business, you got to start with the end in mind. Okay, so let me show you. Share. If you're telling yourself, I need this, what you're really saying is that I need this mentorship because you will have all of this when you are in the mentorship. Okay, so now let me do it like this. So there are 3 different areas, you all, when it comes to business. Now you can break these down more, but I'm going to break this down on a small scale. So you have sales and marketing, you have operations, and then you have your financials. The question is which one of these areas are the most important? Write down in the comments of which one is the most important that you think: sales and marketing, operations, or financials. All right. Okay, here's the deal. It was a trick question. They're all 3 equally as important. I saw one person that got that, 2 people that got that. So it's a trick question. Why? Let's just say you have really, really good sales and marketing, and you have a really, really good operational team to make sure that they fulfill that. But you are horrible at finances and you don't keep your profitability. Then your business is going to fail because of taxes. It's going to fail because of, you ever seen a really good business that always seemed busy and you just knew they had to be making so much money and they go out of business? And you wonder, how can that business go out of business? They did not know how to manage their finances. So what if you have good sales and marketing and you have great finances, but you have horrible operations? Well, you're going to do a really good job selling things. You're going to do a really good job marketing your products. But then your team won't be able to fulfill it, and people are going to drop off before they have an opportunity to see their way through. So you're never even going to have the finances to manage. Let's say you have really good operations and you have really good finances, that's all strong, but you have really weak sales and marketing, where you're not going to have a team. I mean, you're not going to have enough clients coming through where your operations and your finances are even going to matter. So you need to have all three. And that's one of the things that we're teaching you in Wealth Creators. We're teaching you how to have all three, how to have great sales and marketing, how to have great operations, how to have great finances. And when those three things work together, then, oh my God, you can't imagine what will be accomplished and what's going to happen for you and for your team. So let me do this really quick. Okay. Now, let's talk about where people typically mess up on their team. What most people do, let's say that you are the visionary in your company. That means you have the vision, right? You are creating the things, you're making it happen. Most people listen to these people online and they say, you just need to go out and you need to hire a virtual assistant for social media and a virtual assistant for video editing and a virtual assistant for this, for operations, and a virtual assistant for this, and a team member for this. And all of a sudden you have all of these employees, but guess what? They all report up to you. So you start off thinking that you're delegating. You think that you're delegating, which is going to free up more time, but what you're actually creating is a lot of needy people who all need you for something. You got one person that need a meeting with you now. You're putting out a fire for this. You got this going on. You got this going on. You got a fire for this. Has anybody been there before that you attempted to hire a staff, but it seemed like sometimes it was helpful, but sometimes it was even more of a burden because of the fact that you had all of these people you were now responsible for? Here's the missing link. Most people don't have an integrator. Realistically, you should be meeting. There's only 5. So this is the way your structure should look. Let me kind of erase this. I don't care what y'all say. This is some good information today. Um, you have you as a visionary. You have an integrator. The integrator's job is to make your vision a reality and to take away your need to manage everybody. Because what you're going to have now is you're going to have maybe somebody that's on a leadership team for sales, maybe somebody that's on a leadership team for operations, maybe somebody that's on a leadership team for marketing, somebody that's on the leadership team for service and operations. And now, whereas at first I was doing all of the one-on-ones, the integrator's job is now to do the one-on-ones with these individuals. And my job is to only do the one-on-one with the integrator. And the integrator's job is to truly run the company, the operations of the company, and the people management of the company. And my job is to be the visionary. This one move allowed me to free up 50 hours per week of my time. Now, under marketing, we might have a couple people under marketing. We might have several people that's on a sales team, etc. But that's their departments, but this person is managing that infrastructure. So I don't even have to be the best person when it comes to an infrastructure, but I need an integrator on my team who does. They do the dirty work. Now, your integrator is not going to be like you. In fact, your integrator might get on your nerves sometimes because they're thinking more about how do I track spreadsheets and how do I get this done and how do I get that done. And you're an idea person, so you're coming with all of these ideas, and your integrator is saying, "Oh, wait. Like, They're going to filter, you're going to filter everything through your integrator. And sometimes they're going to tell you to slow down, and you're going to slow down because they're basically running the company. And sometimes you're going to push that integrator to say, no, we need to go. We need to go. But it should be a really good balancing act by doing so. Okay. So you have to duplicate yourself. So this next rule I'm about to tell you is called the rule of three. The rule of three. Have you ever had, first off, if you have any employees on your team, put a 1 in the chat. You have any employees, virtual assistant or not, put a 1 in the chat. Okay. If you don't, pay attention to this because you can do it right the first time, right? Your job as a leader is to create leaders, not needers. Your job as a leader is to create leaders who will create other leaders. Have you ever had a really good person on your team, but they were really, really good and you were afraid that they would lose it because they knew so much that if you lost them, you wouldn't know how to replace them? They have been trained to be good at their job to become irreplaceable. That's how they've been trained. But what you have to do is you have to train them is that if you don't make yourself irreplaceable, okay, I'll put it like this. Their job is to train 2 other people on what they do so that they have to step aside. Somebody else is doing their job and they can be promoted. So here's the problem. A lot of people are afraid to teach somebody because they're afraid that they're creating their competition. You can't be afraid on that, right? Here's why. I'm not fearful that if I train them so good that they'll leave. I'm fearful that if I don't train them and they stay. I don't think you all got that. I'm not fearful that I train them so well that they'll leave. I'm fearful that I don't train them and they stay and I'm stuck with that person on my team. You see, here's the deal. You add so much value to them that you train them what you know, and you don't mind because they're training someone else to duplicate themselves. So first you do it for them, then you do it and show them the game, then you do it with them, and then you watch them to do it, and then that's how you duplicate. You do it while they watch, then you do it with them, and then you watch them do it, and then they do it by themselves. And once they get it, they repeat that cycle. Somebody watches them do it, then they do it with them, and then they watch them do it, and then they do it themselves. So we're constantly duplicating leadership over and over and over. If you are the bottleneck of your business, you are in trouble. If you can't take a vacation for 30 days without your business continuing to operate, then you don't have a business. I know that's hard to hear. So, leadership. Somebody says, talk about leadership. So, there is something that John Maxwell called the law of the lid. The law of the lid. The law of the lid is this way. Your company cannot grow beyond your leadership. So if your leadership lid is a 4, you will not get leaders that are past a 4 because if you get leaders that are a 7 or 8 and you're a 4, then they will leave. The good news though is that if your leadership lid is a 4 and then it goes up to a 5, you just raise your entire organization because now you can attract a bunch of 4s. If you're an 8, now you can attract a bunch of 7. If you're a 9, you can attract a bunch of 8s. You see what I'm saying? So you have to continue to raise your leadership lid, and that's going to allow your organization to grow. I'll tell you the hardest part about business as you begin to grow. I'm going to tell you what that is. Sometimes the hardest thing to recognize is that the people who got you there is not always the people that are meant to take you to the next level. And I know that's hard because we always say we are family, we are family, we are family. I no longer say we are family. I say that we are a team. I used to always say we're a family. I don't say it anymore. I say we're a team. Why? Because if you have an all-star team and somebody is slacking for a long time, if they're family, you can't get rid of them. But if they're an all-star team, then guess what? I gotta I gotta reward the person this year who is an all-star. You're not an all-star anymore. Now I will be loyal to you for a long time if you've been loyal to me for a long time. I'll give you a grace period. But a grace period for too long holds down the entire organization. So listen to what I'm telling you all. You gotta fire fast, hire slow. Listen to what I'm telling you all. So the hardest part is when you have deep relationships with somebody, but they're not getting the job done. They act like they don't care sometimes. And maybe they do care, but they just don't have the will set. They have to have three things. They got to have the capacity, they got to have the skill set, and then they have to have the will to do the job. If one of those three things are missing, they can't stay in that seat. Maybe you switch the seat, but they can't stay in that seat. What do you do when you've had somebody that's been with you for 3 to 4 years and they started off good, but they're not growing with you and they're not getting the job done? First, you attempt to find another seat if they're a culture fit. But if you can't find another seat, do you know how hard it is to let somebody go that's been with you for a long time because they're holding you back from going to the next level? That is hard. That's when you learn that you are really a CEO. You are really a CEO in a company when you have to make that decision. Somebody once told me is that you grow your ability to be a CEO when you learn how to grow your ability to have tough conversations. The easier time you have having tough conversations, the easier time you have in growing your business because too many people they struggle with having those tough conversations. So anyway, you all, I just gave y'all a glimpse, a small 1% glimpse on what it is to be a master CEO of your company. But that's just getting started, you all. You think I can teach y'all all that in 1 hour or teach you all of that in 5 days? You think I can teach you all of the systems and the mindset and the tracking mechanisms and the recruitment methods? And I can't teach you all of that in 5 days. I can't teach you all of the financial literacy in your business, how to read a profit and loss statement, how to get a good bookkeeper on the low, how to manage your taxes. I can't teach you all that in a short amount of time, right? But what I can do is I can spread this out over a year and give you all of the tools that you need to take your business from 6 figures to multiple 6 figures to multiple 6 figures to 7 figures. And I just had my first 8 figure year last year, and I'm gonna do 8 figures again, right? And I don't see myself, God willing, going below that again. So with the right guidance, now let me give y'all one example before we leave, and we have to go to the next call because we have to go to the call for the people who have applied. They're going to have an opportunity to hear about this mentorship, and believe me, it's a lot less than you think. But I want y'all to say something really quick. You have to change your identity to money. You have to change that. I want y'all to say something. Close your eyes, and I want y'all to say this to yourself. It's $1 million. Say it's $1 million. You can say it out loud. You're on mute, but I still want you to say it. It's $1 million. So keep your eyes closed. Now I want you to say to yourself, it's only $1 million. It's only $1 million. It's only $1 million. Don't it feel different just by adding that word only? Why is that important? Because your money cannot grow beyond your mindset. When I use the word only, it does something to my subconscious mind that makes me believe that it's actually easy to get. And once you actually get it, you're going to keep soaring past it because it was only $1 million anyway. Right? You got to train yourself. Stop don't tell yourself things such as, I can't afford it. Watch the words that you speak to yourself because death and life is in the power of the tongue. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. You got to watch the message that you're passing on to your children. You got to watch the messages that you're telling your kids all the time, oh, we can't afford that. Stop. You know we can't afford that. You are actually hurting them more than you know. So we're going to change our language. We're going to change the way that we think about things. So I want you to close your eyes again. We're going through this exercise again where I want you to think about a number in your head that you want to generate in the next 3 years. I want you to think about a revenue goal, a revenue number that's in your head. Whatever number you have, I want you to 10x that number. You might have thought to yourself, "Oh, I know this game. He's gonna tell me to 10x my number." Well, guess what? 10x that number. See, you got to stretch out your mind to believe that things are possible. I just had this meeting with someone on my team today. She knows who I'm talking about, and I said you are one of the most talented people that we have in my firm. You're doing good, but you're just doing good. You could be doing great. You have all the talent in the world. The only thing that's holding you back is your own mind, mental blocks. Your mental blocks is telling yourself that, well, I guess I can be comfortable here. I tell people, being comfortable is the enemy of greatness. Procrastination is the assassination of your destination. I talk about that all the time. The quicker you get to your dreams, the longer you get to live those dreams. You got to get to your dreams faster. Why? Because you were equipped. If you have the desire to do it, you can do it. So here's what we're going to do, you all. We're going to leave off this Zoom meeting right now. I still want you to do your homework. Please do your homework. You don't know how much I enjoy looking at those videos. Some of y'all have recorded every day. Steve, I see you every day. I've been looking at your videos every day. I've been looking at Ivy's. I've been looking at your videos. I've been looking at all your videos every single day, and I love it. Keep doing that. Do that today about today's session. But what we're going to do now is for the people who applied, how many people are ready to learn how you can be a part of the mentorship that's going to help you to transform your finances, help you to build your financial structure, such as your trust, your life insurance policies the right way, teaching you how to borrow against your life insurance policy, and teaching you how to build your business and actually be a CEO and not just an entrepreneur. We don't want you to be an entrepreneur. We want you to be a boss, a CEO. All right, y'all. Looking forward to seeing some of y'all in a minute. Let's go.